What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the Double Pipcast. My name's Cam, and today we're going to be covering a couple things. Wave 4 Siege 2 was announced. With that comes Trypticon. Gen Con was just this past weekend, and there is a winner and 32 other folks that participated that are going to be invited to the grand tournament by the end of this year. And then little bit of unfortunate news in terms of people's damaged purchases coming through Loot Crate with Omega Supreme. But getting right into it, Wave 4 Siege 2 was announced this past week. On Twitter, there was a post, and Facebook as well, for some anticipated news, and they announced Wave 4 Siege 2, which we knew was coming, will be out November 8th, and it's going to have a return of the small character cards, and you're still going to have your standard size character cards. 6 battle cards will come in that pack, and then they even showed a little snippet of what the booster pack will look like, so we know that the small character cards can be a Micromaster, a Battle Master, and then half of a Weaponizer, so I'm not really sure what that will end up looking like, but I'm sure as Card Spoilers comes out, we'll have more news there. I know last time we were talking, and I wasn't sure if it would be called Siege 2 or if they would have a different name for it, but it looks like it's going to be called Siege 2. They got Megatron on the cover of the pack and the promotional art for the booster box and all that. Optimus was on Siege Wave 1, or Siege 1, Wave 3, so that's really cool. They've got some art of Megatron sitting on a throne, so that's really awesome. We don't really know too much more about Wave 4 Siege 2 other than the fact that it's going to have a very similar organized play support with the promotional items being sent out. But one thing that's really cool, if you are somebody who normally buys booster boxes sealed, you are going to get inside that box a oversized booster pack with Trypticon, the dinosaur fortress that the Decepticons employ. So straight from the Wizards of the Coast announcement, as the battle reaches its crescendo in War for Cybertron Siege 2, the Autobots and Decepticons turn to desperate means to ensure victory. The Decepticons wake their most dangerous weapon, the mighty Titan, Trypticon. And that's right, he is going to be a Titan character, so he's going to be the same size as Omega Supreme and Metroplex. So you're going to have to get another giant top loader to put him in. And he's going to be, as far as we know now, only included in a sealed booster box if you buy a big booster box. He's going to come with the Trypticon character card and then 3 standard size characters that will work very similar to Metroplex. And we'll get more into how that works. But that'll be Full Tilt, Wipeout, and Brunt. And then he will have a couple of battle cards that are dedicated just for him as well. If you want my opinion, I think if they choose to stick with you, the only way you can officially obtain it is buying a sealed booster box. I think you eliminate the maximum amount of people that can obtain this card, which I think part of it, most of it, it's a business decision. Obviously, you don't want exclusivity just for the sake of exclusivity, so it's a business decision to have the Transformers collector, the people with the collector mentality. They want to have them all they want to make sure that those people, they really want to make sure those people invest in buying a box, and instead of a pack here or there, they want that upfront commitment because, hey, I get this really awesome card, and I get 4 really awesome cards actually, guaranteed. And then, so that's the business part, is the upfront commitment of the $150, or not $150, but $120 on day one, typically, for a box. But then you also have the folks that are going to scalp those packs. They buy 1 box, or they buy 2 boxes or a case, and then they start selling the 3 other packs for $20, $30, $40, because that is still less expensive for that person. That's the max, obviously, would be $5 to $10 less than the cost of a full box. But you're going to have those scalpers out there that have a couple extra packs, and I wouldn't even call them scalpers, it's just opportunists, I guess. They're going to have some extra Trypticon packs. Maybe they want 1 for play and 1 for storage or safekeeping or whatever. And the rest of them are going to go on eBay or TCG Player or all those singles websites. Maybe some people will trade them straight up, but yeah, I think that's the only bummer is as far as we know right now, it's limited to a full box. So unless you're somebody who consistently buys full boxes and you're not just piecemealing a pack here, a pack there, it's going to be tough to get this if you're somebody who's really into Trypticon. So that's the only bummer deal, but I can see both sides of the coin. I can see, hey, what's the best way to make sure that people buy a full box? Put something really, really cool in it that everybody's going to want. Trypticon himself, the art is really awesome. I mean, you can't go wrong with a giant robotic dinosaur. He has a bot mode. He's got a base mode as well. I know on a previous episode, we weren't sure if he had bot friends that if they made a card for him, he would have with him. And he does. Full Tilt, Wipeout, and Brunt. His bot side, 30 health, 6 attack, and I believe it's 1 defense. Yeah, I think it's 1 defense. Yeah, 1 defense. And then when you flip to this mode, you may KO one of your other characters. If you do, this gets plus 3 attack until the end of the turn, or repair 3 damage from your Trypticon. Alt mode, which is also his base mode, I guess you'd call it. 4 attack, still the same 30 health, obviously. Then he gets an extra defense. He's got 2 defense on that mode. He is a Titan on both sides. He is ranged on base side and melee on bot side. So some really cool cards that you can put onto him. Obviously, Armed Hovercraft, your 2 Wave 1 cards with Power Sword and Body Armor, giving him bold and tough. His alt mode ability is, this starts the game with 3 characters under it. Full Tilt, Base Recon, Wipeout, Devoted Minion, Brunt, Artillery Drone, and instead of, you can draw parallels to Metroplex with starting with these 3 characters underneath him, but his alt mode, he has a little bit more text to his ability. Each of your other characters has bold 1, but when you flip to this base mode, unlike Metroplex, you're not deploying cards. So there is an action card that will actually need to be played. It's a green pip. You play this card, and it's actually going to deploy one of your characters. So that's the main difference in terms of deploying these cards, Metroplex versus Trypticon, is that you have to draw this green pip card and play it as your action for the turn in order to get one of these characters out. Trypticon is a 24-star card, and Full Tilt, Wipeout, and Brunt are baked into that cost, which allows you to play a star card, which is really cool. And then on his bot side, and then going into his little guys, Wipeout, Full Tilt, and Brunt. Full Tilt is a car, Brunt is a tank, and then Wipeout is a car as well. They have a new keyword on them, I guess you'd call it, or phrase, and that's revenge. So this is an ability on both sides of each character. Brunt only has one side, very similar to Slammer from the Metroplex set, but each little character, or standard size character that accompanies Metroplex or Trypticon, each small size character that accompanies Trypticon has revenge, which triggers when they get KO'd. So you've got with Brunt, scrap an enemy weapon or armor if you have Trypticon on the battlefield. Use a character's revenge abilities when it's KO'd. And that doesn't mean KO'd by an attack only. That can be KO'd by card, like Peace Through Tyranny. And then we've got Full Tilt, do 1 damage to an enemy if you have Trypticon on the battlefield. Full Tilt Bot Mode, do 2 damage to an enemy if you have Trypticon on the battlefield. Wipeout, draw a card if you have Trypticon on the battlefield. Bot Mode, draw 2 cards. So really bring these guys out in alt mode, so you're basically getting a bonus if you put them into their bot mode. So you're getting a bonus effect if they get KO'd in bot mode. So you can think about maybe not ramming speed, but Wave 3 introduced a card, Battering Ram, that you can flip characters over into their other mode if you attack them. So that could be a counter to that if you're trying to get KO'd on a certain side. The reason why it would be interesting to KO, want your characters to get KO'd, is that not only are you getting a benefit from that, but there's another action card for Trypticon called Relentless Invasion that actually brings Full Tilt, Wipeout, and Brunt back out of their KO pile, allows them to attack that turn, so they all come in untapped, and all three of them can attack, and they don't have a ton of attack. It's 3, 2. You've got 3 to 2 attack for each character, so all those get to attack. And then afterwards, instead of getting KO'd by the use of this action, you put them back underneath Trypticon. So then you have another chance to deploy them again. I don't know how many times realistically you'll be able to do this. Trypticon has 30 health, so depending on how quickly you get all of them out, that's where that card's value will be variable. But that's crazy. So if they get KO'd, you can bring them back from the graveyard, and this is the first time that we've had bots go into the scrap zone or the graveyard or whatever you want to call it, and be able to be played again with full health if all of the conditions are met to do so. So overall, my thoughts on Trypticon: awesome art. It's awesome to have another large card. He's a Titan, so he can use height advantage, so you may see the value go up on that card since Trypticon as a second Titan can use it. That deck, there's still some out there. I don't know if it's still being published and distributed. I know some places have already clearanced it out. But buying that deck for a play set of height advantage, if you don't already have it, or if you want a separate play set for Metroplex and Trypticon, you can get a pretty good deal on that if you go buy that deck now before Trypticon comes out. I think he's a really cool character. The means of getting him, hey, I'm 50-50 on it, kind of lukewarm, and that depends on if I get a box, right? I'm sure I'll be really happy that it comes with a box if I end up buying one, which you never know. It comes out November 8th. 1 large card, 1 small character card in each pack, 6 battle cards. Sealed box comes with the Trypticon pack. Gets you Full Tilt, Wipeout, Brunt, and Trypticon. So yeah, that's Wave 4 Siege 2, and that's Trypticon. Gen Con winner, Kevin Allen. Gen Con, there was recently an announcement that top 32 players from the Gen Con tournament will actually be given an invite to the Energon Invitational. So that's really, really cool. So 32 lucky guys and girls were able to attend Gen Con. There's more than that, but attend Gen Con and qualify to go to the big tournament at the end of the year. Kevin Allen was the winner, so he got the big acrylic trophy that says Transformers Trading Card Game Siege in it. I'm sure he got a box and some promotional merch and swag, but he was running Cliff Jumper, and you guys know my thoughts on Cliff Jumper. Tough to get card, wasn't really well known outside of people who were really paying attention that the Transformers TCG was coming out. There was a promo pack, came with Cliff Jumper, 2 action cards, and Slipstream. Now he's expensive and hard to find. Obviously, they're not making any more of him. Red Alert, Wave 1, RC, and Prowl, Wave 1. So that was his deck that he was running, and he was the winner. So congratulations, Kevin. Our last winner was Stefan Pinkney, and he joins Kevin Allen joins Stefan in being the first 2 official winners of an official sanctioned event with those big acrylic trophies. So very cool, very cool. I actually saw a picture on social media with Stefan and one of the guys from Wizards of the Coast flexing. It was pretty funny. I don't know where Stefan ended up ranking in the tournament, but I'll have to take a look and figure that out. Next thing, I don't know if you'd call it controversy. I think that would be overblowing it a little bit. And from what I've seen, Loot Crate has some variable levels of being able to ship things on time depending on where you are and the way Loot Crate works. It makes sense. I'll briefly explain how it works. But Loot Crate has some issues getting things out on time to different parts of the states. And they also, after a Loot Crate has been out for a certain amount of time, let me rewind a little bit. So Loot Crate, you pay X amount of dollars per month, and they ship you a pretty cool looking box full of geeky stuff, t-shirts, bottle openers, toys, anything that's cool. They have people, I'm sure, that scour the internet, scour what's coming up next, or they have really good relationships with these companies that make these nerdy items and geeky pop culture items. And then they get specials, they get unique or exclusive items for these Loot Crates to get you to purchase them. You can either sign up to get one every month, like a subscription, almost like a magazine subscription, or you can buy one off if there's some item you really like. Let's say there was a Godzilla box or a Ghostbusters box, and they're typically themed around something like, let's say, Evolution or Transformation would have Transformers, it would have Pokemon. You get the drift. So with that, all the different pieces coming from different companies, sometimes things don't get produced on the times table that they thought they would. And if it's a monthly subscription, and let's say a t-shirt didn't get printed on time, and it's coming from, I don't know, China, or it's coming from Mexico, or it's coming from the States, if it's delayed, then they either have to release a statement to everybody that bought that box and say, hey, just so you know, this item isn't going to come out, or it's going to be delayed. We'll send it to you as soon as we get it. Or, hey, this didn't come out, or it's not ever going to, so we replaced it with this pair of socks, or you get $5 off your next one, or whatever. Some sort of make good. So, getting back to where we were and how this concerns you and the Transformers TCG, Omega Supreme was originally only available in the UK and other territories outside the States. If you bought a box, it was a with box gift, not in a pack or anything like that, but it was a with box promo gift. But in the States, there was a partnership with Loot Crate, and if you bought the Loot Crate for, I want to say it was February or March, somewhere in there, February, March, then Omega Supreme came in there. It was covered on many different websites, and we were made aware of it on the Facebook, and so that was cool. For $20, you could get a couple of different items, and then this giant Omega Supreme card. I ended up getting him separately online for actually pretty good deals, like $12 before Loot Vault announced that they were going to be selling it. And what Loot Vault is all these items get put into this box and they sell them. If they don't sell all of the items that come with the box, I'm sure there's a lot of different things that they do with those. Maybe return it for a refund to the manufacturer or the company. But one thing that they do is they actually sell through it on an online storefront while supplies lasts through Loot Vault. So items that you may have missed, oh man, I really wanted that box, but I didn't get a hold of it on time. I wasn't aware of it. I came late to the game. Omega Supreme was available loose from independent of a crate. I want to say it was $15. They dropped it down to $10 or $11. People are starting to get this, and if you know anything about the Transformers character cards, they're foiled on one side. If you leave them out, unprotected, so not in a sleeve or not in a top loader, I use the Mayday sleeves, and they're pretty tight. They hold that character card pretty flat, independent of a top loader. But you leave them out, they're going to start to curl and start to warp, even if it's not that warm. It's just, I don't know if it's the natural tendency of the foil to want to bring that card back. Plus, they're bigger, so you have more. This is me talking on my rear at this point in terms of you've got more surface area, so they're going to curl a lot faster than something that's small and rigid. So anyhow, these cards, you'd think when you're sending something large that you, and all across all parts of the country, a bunch of different people at the post office are going to have their hands on it. You'd think you'd ship it in a rigid box. It's something that's flimsy, large, and thin. This thing's, I don't know, like 6 inches, 6x5 or something. It's big. Those cards are pretty big. But I've been hearing online that They were shipped in padded envelopes, soft padded envelopes, so they're manila basically with bubble wrap inside. Somebody's not paying attention. They don't know what's inside of it. It could just be a piece of paper. If it's not written fragile on there, somebody's carrying this to your house, or it's getting tossed around in a warehouse. And not to speak ill of the post office, people are just trying to get things in and out as fast as possible. And if it's not denoted that it needs to be treated any certain sort of way, it's going to be treated some sort of way. It sits in a hot car or hot post truck, and it's driving. Starts to get warped that way, who knows? But pictures have been posted. People are starting to receive these. Edges bent, creased, cards warped like crazy. And, I haven't heard what the resolution is on that, if they have enough to replace those, or if it's going to be a straight up refund. With the warping, you can throw it in a sleeve and throw it in a top loader, and it'll be good. I don't know if being forced to stay in a straight position will bring it back to normal. But, the creases and the bends where, it looks like somebody really went to it. I mean, that's unfortunate. Anytime you buy something if it's bought from a reputable place, you'd hope that they take the right precautions and they think about that type of stuff. But it's unfortunate. I feel bad for those folks that bought those and received them messed up. And that's just the people that are on the Facebook page and know that they can post it on there. There's probably many people that bought them and received bad ones. I've also seen pictures of them coming in great. So again, a lot of variables in there, depending on what that journey looked like for that card, from being plucked and placed in the box at the the padded envelope at the warehouse and making its journey to those people's front steps or P.O. box. But that's a bummer, so I hope somebody shares what Loot Crate ends up doing with Omega Supreme, and if Transformers TCG and Loot Crate team up again, hopefully they get that figured out. Maybe just send them a bunch of white cardboard from the booster packs to super enforce that. But yeah, kind of a short episode today. I really just wanted to go over Trypticon, the Wave 4 Siege 2, which is really, really big news. Not going into a deep dive on analysis on what I think Trypticon can do or anything like that. I think he'll be good. If he's not good, he's still an awesome looking card, and there's some exclusivity and some extra things you got to do to get him, so he's alluring in that way. We're getting closer and closer to the Energon Invitational with Gen Con wrapping up. Again, congratulations to Kevin Allen alongside his Cliffjumper Red Alert, RC, and Prowl. I actually like Red Alert. Not only do I like his art, but his Glass Cannon bot mode. He's an awesome low-cost character. But Cliffjumper, Red Alert, RC, and Prowl, awesome job, Kevin Allen. And then, if you are somebody who received a damaged Omega Supreme and you're tuning in, let me know what Loot Crate ends up saying. Give us a shout at Pipcast on Twitter. And then also send in any questions you have, anything, suggestions, feedback, anything like that. Give us a shout on Twitter at Pipcast. Again, I've been Cam. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next time for episode 5.